Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Rialunda. That is the full name of our national hero. Very long name, isn't it? But have you also wondered and became curious what's in his name? Let's take a look at each meaning of his name. The name Jose was chosen by his mother, who was a devotee of the Christian San Jose. The Protasio was a name from Gervasio P, which came from a Christian calendar. Rizal in Spanish means a field where wet cat while still green sprouts again. Mercado was adopted in 1731 by Domingo Lamco, the paternal great-great-grandfather of Jose Rizal. The Spanish term mercado means market in English. E means and. Alonso was an old surname of his mother. Last but not least, Rialunda was used by Doña Chidora from the surname of her godmother. He was born in June 19, 1861, to Francisco Rizal Mercado y Alejandro and Chidora Alonso Rialunda y Quintos in the town of Calamba in Laguna Province. Rizal was to live a short but eventful life till 1896. He had initially studied ophthalmology to cure his mother's eye condition. He was also a physician, naturalist, botanist, engineer, linguist, sculptor, musician, composer, poet, dramatist, novelist, reformist, thinker, and writer. He had 9 sisters, namely Saturnina, Narcisa, Olympia, Lucia, Maria, Concepcion, Josefa, Trinidad, and Soledad, and 1 brother named Pashan. On June 22, 1862, he was baptized in the Catholic Church of Big Town at the age of 3 by Father Rufino Colantes. The first memory of Rizal in his infancy was his happy days in the family garden when he was 3 years old. He was given the tenderest care by his parents because he was frail, sickly, and undersized. While his first sorrow was the death of little Concha or Concepcion. When I was 4 years old, he said, I lost my little sister Concha, and then for the first time, I shed tears caused by love and grief. Young Rizal is a religious boy. He grew up a good Catholic. At the age of 3, he began to take part in the family prayer. His mother taught him the Catholic prayers. When he was 5 years old, he was able to read the Spanish Family Bible. On June 6, 1868, Jose and his father left Calamba to go on a pilgrimage to Antipolo. This was his first trip across Laguna de Bay and his first pilgrimage to Antipolo. At the age of 8, Rizal wrote his first poem in the native language entitled Sa Aking Mga Kabata, to my fellow children. He wrote it in an appeal to our people to love our national language. Rizal also wrote his first dramatic work, which was a Tagalog comedy. Did you know that a Gobernador Celio from Haiti purchased the manuscript for 2 pesos only? Have you heard about the story of the moth? The story of the moth and the flame was told to Rizal by his mother on a night when her mother was teaching him how to read a book entitled The Children's Friend. His mother grew impatient of his poor reading and lack of focus, and always straying his eyes on the flame of the lamp and the cheerful moth surrounding it. Knowing his interest to stories, his mother decided to stop teaching him and instead read him an interesting story. And upon hearing the story, it gave a deep impression on Rizal. However, it's not the story's moral that truly struck him. He actually envied the moth and their fate and considered that the light was so fine a thing that it was worth dying for. Jose Rizal's first teacher was his mother. When he was 11 years old, Rizal entered the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. He earned excellent marks in subjects like philosophy, physics, chemistry, and national history. At this school, he read novels, wrote prize-winning poetry, and practiced drawing, painting, and clay modeling, all of which remained lifelong interests for him. Rizal eventually earned a land surveyor's and assessor's degree from the Ateneo Municipal while taking up philosophy and letters at the University of Santo Tomas. Upon learning that his mother was going blind, Rizal opted to study ophthalmology at the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery. He, however, was not able to complete the course because he became politically isolated by adversaries among the faculty and clergy who demanded that he assimilate to their system. Without the knowledge of his parents, Rizal traveled to Europe in May 1882. According to his biographer Austin Craig, in order to obtain a better education, had to leave his country stealthily like a fugitive from justice, and his family, to save themselves from persecution, were compelled to profess ignorance of his plans and movements. His name was interred in Santo Tomas at the opening of the new term, with a feast paid, and Pasiano had gone to Manila pretending to be looking for his brother whom he had assisted out of the country. Rizal earned a licentiate in medicine at the Universidad Central de Madrid, where he also took courses in philosophy and literature. It was in Madrid that he conceived of writing Noli Me Tangere. He also attended the University of Paris. And in 1887, he completed his eye specialization course at the University of Heidelberg. It was also in that year that Rizal's first novel was published in Berlin. Rizal is said to have the ability to master various skills, subjects, and languages. So did you know that on January 20, 1872, 200 Filipinos employed at the Cavite Arsenal staged a revolt against the Spanish government's voiding of their exemption from the payment of tributes. The Cavite Monity led to the persecution of prominent Filipino secular priests Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora, who would then be collectively named Gumbursa, were tagged as the masterminds of the uprising. The priests were charged with treason and sedition by the Spanish military tribunal. The Gumbursa were publicly executed by a garrote on the morning of February 17, 1872 at Bagumbayan. In August 1892, Rizal was detained aboard a ship traveling back to Spain. Rizal was charged with treason, sedition, and the formation of illegal societies. He was sent to an island and held. He taught for 4 years while being held. He met a girl named Josephine Bracken, who he wanted to marry, but the church refused to give him a license to marry. He penned his last piece of writing called Mi Ultimo Adios, or My Last Farewell, and wrote and addressed the Filipino insurgents to lay down their arms against the Spanish. The address was never made public, but was added to the list of charges against him. In 1896, his request to go to Cuba was approved. On the way to Cuba, he was arrested and charged with conspiracy and sedition. On December 27, he was condemned to death in a Spanish court. On December 30th, he was permitted to marry Josephine 2 hours before he was shot by a firing squad. On December 30th, 1912, the ashes of Rizal were transferred to Rizal Mausoleum, and in December 30th is declared national holiday in honor of his memory. No self-respecting town in the country is without a statue of the man, or does not have a major street named after him. Reverence for thinker Dr. Jose Rizal, who died a martyr at age 35 in the last years of Spanish rule, has spanned a century and spread to foreign lands.